Good afternoon. My name is Wendy Sachs, and I'm on the board of Plant Powered Metro New York. Plant Powered Metro New York is a community-based organization committed to our collective health empowerment through whole food, plant-based nutrition, which is an evidence-based approach to nutrition that can prevent, treat, and reverse chronic illness. While we normally prefer to offer live sessions to build community and health around nutrition, we're offering these programs as part of a web series during the seasons, it looks like, of COVID-19. So we're really glad you've come to learn and to connect and join us as a community despite the social distancing. Okay, I'm here to now introduce my dear friend, Chef Carole. Many of you have already received the recipes. This is a rescheduled event for Memorial Day, and I'm going to do just a quick plug that Memorial Day Americans usually eat hamburgers and hot dogs and all kinds of meat-laden things. And I recently read a study that was done in 2017 by a woman, Helen Horwath. She said if everyone in America were to replace beans for beef, that's the name of the study, you can go online, beans for beef, that we would reach 75% of the Paris Accord climate lowering of CO2 within just 1 year. So today we're doing beans for beef, and we're making burgers. So if I can figure out chat from my iPad, I'll try to put some of the links on there. So Carole, welcome.
Yes.
On.
Thanks, Wendy. Thank you. Welcome, everyone. Just a reminder that I can't see all of you, but I certainly welcome and embrace all of you into my kitchen. And thank you for coming. This is a rescheduled demo, and I had planned to make burgers. And burgers are good for all summer long. They're also good for the winter. We are going to be making smoky black bean beet burgers. And then we are also making a cold potato salad. And if there's a little bit of like 5 to 10 minutes at the end, we can quickly get in a little bit of a dessert. But that is only if there's time at the end because there's a lot to do. Okay, so we're gonna get started. And the very first thing that we're gonna do is we are gonna have a kind of a creamy dressing for the potato salad. So I have a 1/3 cup of cashews here, and I have 1/3 cup of water. And while we're working on the burgers, I just want to tell you I'm soaking, as I spill it, I'm soaking the cashews so that they become soft, okay? So that's happening on the side, okay? The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to do a couple things with the burgers. We are using black beans. And today we're using them out of the can because I've run out of the dried beans. You know, the dried beans are actually a cheaper way to go. And if you were to use dried beans instead of the can, approximately 3/4 of a cup of dried beans would make 1 can of beans, okay? And the yield of that is about 1.5 cups, okay? That's approximate because all beans are of different sizes. So that's why I'm telling you it's approximately 1.5 cups. But this is a brand I like very much, Eden, because it's no salt. And as you know, I'm cooking with no salt, no sugar, no oil. So we are going to get these open. And my handy dandy little cute Whistler can opener that I love showing off so much because it's like a magic can opener. And I know it's not so exciting to open a can, but I like showing off my one-handed can opener because it's the way that the top lid comes off. Because it comes off in such a way that is clean and the ends of the can are not sharp. So I like that very much. And we are just going to take these beans. I have a nice big strainer here, and we're just going to get these out of their juices. Gonna let that juice drain. We're going to get rid of this can over here, and we are going to rinse these beans, okay? That's what we're going to do. So I'm just going to get these beans rinsed. We don't want any water, so I'm going to set that off right over this, and we're just going to let those drain, okay? In the meantime, we're also going to get a bowl, and these beet burgers can be made two different ways. I recently made these burgers all by hand, and if you want to make them by hand, you can, and you would need some kind of this is a potato masher, and then you would also need to have a grater to grate the beets on these larger holes. But I've gone ahead to get out the Cuisinart, and I'm kind of going to show you how we can make it all in the Cuisinart, okay? But let me get started with the stove. Okay, I've got the oven preheating, okay? Because you always want to get your stove hot, so I immediately preheated the oven. And we are getting the pan hot because we are going to water saute. And I like looking at the recipe. And we need a half of red onion. And I've already diced a half a cup of red onion. And you know, I want to take this moment to remind you that all recipes are guides, okay? Sometimes I've had to type out a recipe for you, and it's for you to, one, gather your ingredients, and two, it is really a guide. Because some red onions, if I say use a half of red onion, sometimes an onion is this big, and sometimes it's like a big softball. So, you know, the difference in a half. So your measurement for the onions is approximately 3/4 of a cup. And this really was a half an onion, and I measured it, and it really is 3/4 a cup. And we're going to water saute that here. I also chopped up a bunch of mushrooms, and I will show you how we can chop up those mushrooms. Now, all of this whole procedure can be done in a Cuisinart, but I like showing some techniques. Okay, so I do like to show you, you know, I know a lot of you have been watching me cut a lot of mushrooms, but I like showing you that, one, you do not have to wash the mushrooms under running water. What you would do when you get them home, you would, you know, wipe them before you're using them with a paper towel. That is all that is needed, okay? If you're doing this all by hand, okay, you can slice this mushroom kind of like a hamburger, like in half like this, okay? And then you're going to slice it, and oops, it's going to travel a little bit. And you're going to just cut it in slices, and then you're going to turn it around, and you're going to just small dice it, okay? That's what you want for these mushrooms. Again, alternatively, this could be done in the Cuisinart by just putting the mushrooms chopped roughly and just pulsing it several times, and you would get ground up mushrooms, okay? I'm just letting you know that this whole thing could be done in the Cuisinart if you have one. But if you don't, then you're, you know, doing it with a knife and a cutting board, okay? Now I'm gonna check with this pan. This pan feels already hot. I like showing you, I put my hand above this to make sure it's hot. I can feel it. But I also take a little water, and immediately as soon as I flick in the water, it sizzles, sizzles, sizzles. So I know for certain we're ready to go, okay? I have two things here. I have water, and I have some broth, some vegetable broth. If you're buying broth in a box, please look on the side label and make sure that you don't have a lot of sodium, and try to buy a brand that is, you know, less salty, because a lot of those processed stocks come with a lot of salt in them. Okay, so we're going to get the onions in the pan right away, and we hear a noise. We hear them sizzling, okay? And we can do one of two things. We can add a little water, or we can add a little bit broth. It doesn't matter here, okay? This is just, and I'm going to get a spoon. And I'm cooking in a carbon steel pan, but you could cook in a stainless steel pan. You could cook in a non-stick pan. Obviously, if you're using a non-stick pan, you want to make sure that you're using a spatula or something that's not going to scrape your non-stick pan. Now, this is a method called, we are slowly adding just a hair of water at a time. This is called water sauteing. I know a lot of you probably are used to cooking with oil, and the first thing you do is you pour oil in the whole bottom of the pan, and it is just not necessary, and it's also not healthy. A lot of people ask, well, isn't the olive oil healthy? There are no nutrients in it for us. And it's better for you to get your fat from other things like seeds and avocados and nuts. So I am just going to keep doing this just a little bit. Now you may ask, is this possibly, could these onions ever caramelize? They absolutely could caramelize, just as if you were cooking in oil, okay? We're just going to lightly cook those until they're translucent, and then we're going to put the 1 cup of chopped mushrooms, okay? They're going to go right into the pan as well. And again, if I were doing with the broth, I could do it with the broth. Right now, I'm just going to do it with the water that I have here. And I'll just show you as much as I can here. These are the onions, okay? There's almost no water. They're looking very beautiful. If this recipe had garlic, this is when I would add the garlic. You don't need to add any garlic. Can someone please mute themselves? I'm not quite sure where the noise is coming from, but we just want to make sure. Thank you. Okay, so we've got those onions ready to go, and we're now gonna put the mushrooms in, okay? They're going all in. Now I'm going to kind of keep this on a medium-high heat, because the mushrooms, you want to seal in the juices, and you also want the water from the mushrooms. There's some liquid that's going to come out of these mushrooms. Okay? So this is going to cook for just a very, very few minutes. Okay? Just showing you that. Now, alternatively, I want to show you a little bit of things here. If we were to take the black beans, okay, and put them in our bowl, and we were not going to do any of this in a machine, I would just, while all this is cooking, I would start to mash these, okay? Just mashing them just as if you were mashing potatoes and making mashed potatoes. This is a very, very good tool for that. Okay, but because I've really decided that I want to show you how fast all this can be done in the Cuisinart, I'm actually going to take out the Cuisinart just to show you that, okay? And I'm going to move some of this equipment over here. We're going to continue to stir our onion and mushroom mixture. Things are cooking. Don't really need any water or broth because nothing's sticking here, okay? So I want to show you the Cuisinart and show you a couple different things, okay? This is a Cuisinart, if you have one, great. It's great to invest in certain kinds of tools. And this is what we're going to grate our beets on. It's the grater opposed to the S-blade that we're going to use later on, okay? Again, I'm just showing you some extra things because I think it's just helpful to know how fast you can sometimes do things, okay? These mushrooms are almost done. We're just going to keep those on the side. I also have over here, let's get this plugged in here, okay? I recently learned that things that are not plugged in do not take electricity, so I've been unplugging everything that's plugged in all over my house recently. This is just a beet. To make 1 cup of beets, I've already actually cut the beets, graved the beets right here. We have 1 cup, and they're very long strands and very beautiful. You have to get this thing peeled. So I wash it and I trim both sides, okay? Both sides are trimmed, and I get rid of that. Okay, then I take a peeler, and we have to, at the same time, when you ever have your back against the stove, you always want to make sure that nothing's burned, okay? The machine might be here in your way, but we are pretty much done with the mushrooms. They're pretty cooked. Okay, so I'm going to turn these off for now, and we're just going to really fast, and I just like showing you this. It's not that we need any more beets, but I'm just showing you how you're going to peel your beet very carefully. The skin's a little tough, but it does peel, and you can eat raw beets. You don't need to cook the beets. If you were like, some people like to set up their whole salad in the refrigerator, and you could just grate a bunch of beets ahead of time and then have those ready just to throw in your salad. But I want to get rid of all this red beets. And one tip, if you are even beginning to think about using the beets, you absolutely do not want to be wearing anything light colored, okay? Because no matter how careful it is, no matter what you do, you will have red dots. The beets like to stain your fingers, as you can see. And I'm putting the grater tool on the machine here, okay? And I hope all of you know how to use your machine if you have one, but this portion comes out. And I just want to show you that the minute that you put this in, okay, and you pulse it, well, you have to turn it on. Whoops. You have to lock it and then turn it on. Yeah, maybe not. Something. It's like our Zoom. What is happening? Well, there's sometimes you have problems. Let's just see what's going on here. This is on, this is on, this is shut, this is shut. Okay, we are in. I'm going to bring this back closer to us. So do you see how fast that was? Again, took 1 minute, and look at these beets that we have, shredded. This is how I actually make my horseradish when I'm making it for Passover. But that's ready to go, okay? And they're beautiful long strands, actually, but they're shredded. Alternatively, you would use the large holes, okay? So I'm going to just put this aside because we don't need that any longer. And I'm just going to put it along the side. And we are going to try to make this whole mixture. Oh, I need to have that container back because I decided that we're going to just make the whole thing in here. And we are going to put these beets. Look at, I already set up a cup because these are going to be shredded for my salad during the week. And I'm absolutely going to just eat those raw like that. Okay, we don't even have to wash this. There's no need to wash this. Okay, and this is going to go in the refrigerator just like that, full of shredded beets. Okay, so we are going to get these black beans with the spatula in with the S-blade, okay? With the S-blade, and we're going to put these in here, okay? We're just going to dump the black beans, okay? We are also going to put our 1 cup of beets. Again, look at these strands. They're really beautiful, actually. Okay, we're going to put that in. We are going to put our onion and mushroom mixture. It's a little bit warm, but it's okay. We're going to put that in there, okay? Try to get everything out as much as possible. Okay, we need to have 3/4 of a cup of quinoa. And that I cooked in advance, okay? And I hope all of you know what the quinoa is. I actually put my jar away. The quinoa is a grain. It's a delicious grain. It's very, very high in protein. And it cooks just like rice. So it's a 2-to-1 ratio. So if you use 1 cup of quinoa, you would use 2 cups of water, okay? We need actually 3/4 of a cup. And the reason I just cook a big batch of this at a time, and I try to keep a batch of it in my refrigerator. Because 1, I love putting it on my oatmeal, and 2, I love putting it a scoop or 2 on my green salads during lunch or dinner. So I just cook a big batch of it. So we need to have 3/4 of a cup. So I'm putting 1, and then I'm putting 2. These are all 1/4 cups that I'm using, and we're putting 3. The rest of this we will use. We'll just put that away. No issue. Now, I pretty much have done all of this by heart, but I don't know the recipe by heart with the spices. And if I remember right, we also need some walnuts. The walnuts are going to help put together the binding of everything. And if you are allergic to nuts or you feel like you just don't want to use any nuts, you don't have to use nuts. You could use some oat flour. That would be one suggestion. Or you could use, I guess oat flour is probably the nicest. And maybe after that, I like spelt. But what I do is I just put nuts in a bag like this. I already had some nuts. I already had some nuts in a bag. I'm reaching over to get my rolling pin. And I'm just going to have the bag all sealed up. And this is the best way. Yes, you could grind these nuts in your Cuisinart, definitely. You could chop them by hand. Some may maybe have an actual nut grinder, but I find this is the best way, fastest. And then what I don't use, I just keep in the Ziploc bag for the next time. And then these are your nuts. And again, anything you use, anything you use. Now, you might want to know if with the beet ends, if you could put them into stock, but you actually, I would not recommend that unless you were specifically making borscht. Okay, if you were making borscht, then of course yes, you would want to make stock with your beets. But the beets immediately, you can see my fingers are still red. The cutting board is red. Everything is red, and you would not necessarily want to add those because they have such a distinct flavor. So we need a half a cup of walnuts, okay? We don't have to toast these. I'm just going to fill it a half a cup, and those are going to go in there like that, okay? So that we are done with those. And then the next thing that we need is the spices, okay? And we need 3 kinds of spices. Now, when you're, just a second. There's nothing like talking things. When you are not cooking with salt, the 3 ways of bringing up flavor are through your herbs and spices, using fresh herbs, you know, and also using citrus. Citrus as in the juice, and citrus, the zest off the skin. We will go over that later when we're making the potato salad. So according to the recipe, and I always like reading the recipe before I start blending everything to make sure that I haven't forgotten something, because I tend to memorize things and then I'll forget like a big major thing. So I always make sure that I'm reading. So we put in the quinoa, we have the onions and the mushrooms, we have the black beans, we have the cup of raw beets. We're going to put our cumin, chili powder, and paprika, and we have a half a cup of walnuts, and we need a twist or 2 of black pepper. So I'm just going to give that a couple twists like that, okay, not a big deal. And then we're going to get these spices in, okay, and let's just get these measured out. And I always, let's just see, we need 1 teaspoon, we need a teaspoon, and we need a half a teaspoon. And I do like showing off quickly to you that I have this little cup of measuring spoons right at my side. I have 2 sets of regular measuring spoons, and then I have another odd set that has like 2 tablespoons, a tablespoon and a half. I like all this. Why? Because I can't stand when I go to someone's house and they still have the little ring on it and you end up with 5 spoons at one time. Please separate everything out so that you can really move things around. Nothing, they don't need to live like a little family. And I am going to get our 1 teaspoon of cumin. Okay, 1 teaspoon of cumin. And then we need a half a teaspoon of chili powder. Okay, half a teaspoon of chili powder. And I like, whenever I measure, I like putting things in separate spaces. So I don't keep just dumping in one pile. That's because often, all this I'm sure happens to all of you, you get a phone call or you have children that are nagging at you, or you go and you're trying to do something else, you might forget, where did I leave off? So if I were to come back to this bowl, I see, oh, I've done the cumin and I've done the chili powder. So the only thing that I haven't done is the smoked paprika. And just a second, and that's open here. And we need to have 1/4 of a teaspoon of the smoked paprika. So let's just find that little spoon and get that in there. And then we have 3 nice big piles of spices. And again, this is my fast way is just grinding this. Now, we don't want to pulverize this to death, okay? We just ultimately want to pulse it when it's, you know, and that's when you're going to be able to keep a little bit of texture to everything. You don't want to ruin the, just doing a little cleanup here because the beets have gone everywhere, and it's just, I can't work when it's all crazy. It makes me like it's so hard. So let's just get this moved for a moment. and we're gonna post, okay? And we are, oh, it always helps to plug things in. If you don't plug things in, things don't work. I always, oh, I put this side of the machine, oh, there. I have a lot of issues. Okay, so we are up, this one is just a problem, no matter what I do. So let's just get this over here. I wanted to do it close by you, but that's okay. We don't have to be so close. And I'm gonna get a spatula and get in there, because this stuff is sitting at the top and the things, it's very, very full. Okay, and I really want everything to get mixed together. Okay, everything is getting mixed. There's still a couple long shreds of beets. Okay, and I'm just, when you feel the Cuisinart this much, you end up, you know, kind of actually doing a little bit of double labor here, because you're trying to get everything, and things are getting mashed at the bottom and not mashed at the top, so you have to kind of turn things around. But it's looking very good, and we're almost there, literally, and pulsing, again, not letting it on, staying on. And I think we're there, because again, I want a little bit of texture. I want to see those beans, and I want to see a few strands. And I think we're really good here, actually. And let me just get this over here and show you, to unlock everything. Let me just show you what this looks like, okay? That's what this looks like. Okay, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna get it back in the bowl, okay? I like getting everything back in the bowl. And again, if you didn't have a Cuisinart, you don't have to do it in the Cuisinart. I made these the other day, and we did everything in the bowl. We chopped everything by hand. You want to watch that blade, and I always make sure the blade is clean. I don't want to leave anything on there. Get that in sync. And then get this out of here. And get this just soaking. I immediately put this in the sink, because I like it to be soaking. Okay, so we've got a burger. These burgers, I make a lot of different kinds of burgers. Mushroom burgers, quinoa burgers, all sorts of kinds of burgers, potato burgers. These just happen to really look just like hamburger meat because of the beets, okay? Now, before we start to form these, I always like to taste everything to make sure that it's spicy enough, okay? And if you're wondering why my glasses are falling off my face every second, it is very warm in here, because I am literally standing next to the oven, and it is very, very warm to stand next to the oven. I usually don't cook right here. I cook over to the side. Delicious. Delicious. Absolutely delicious, okay? If you felt that it needed just a little something, because you're wondering, wow, it's really missing its salt. You know, what I would do is I would actually cut a lime. I like a lime. It could be a lemon. It could be an orange. Doesn't matter. And I would just squeeze a little bit of juice, just a hair, not a lot, because it's already a wet mixture and we don't want to get it too wet. And that actually will bring up the flavor of everything. Okay, and I would get that lime mixture in. And we've got a nice consistency here, okay? I've got the oven preheated, and we are going to get working on making and shaping these burgers, okay? And I think all of you can see. And if you can, I like making these with a lid. You could use a peanut butter jar lid. These happen to be these nice ball jar plastic lids. I have a couple boxes of these, so they're just lids that hang around. And then you could use, if you have a Silpat baking mat, you could bake on that. I have always loved the parchment paper, so parchment paper helps also for easy cleanup. I don't have to wash anything. Looks like I kind of made that maybe a little short. We might have a full sheet pan, so maybe put a little more paper. Now, you don't have to oil this pan at all. If you feel possessed and you're just still a person that is using oil, What would I do? One, I would push that oil to the back of my cabinet and say that I'm just out of it and don't have it. That is the way that I got over using oil. I just removed it from sight, okay? But if for some reason you felt like you were worried about things, you know, browning, you're gonna see they're gonna brown just fine. You're worried about something sticking. I would take a brush or my fingers and put like a teaspoon of oil, and then I would rub it all on here if you feel that is absolutely necessary. But it really is not. And okay, and I'm gonna show you that. And then I take some saran wrap, and we can have either 3-inch burgers or like 2.5-inch, you know, smaller burgers. I like using this bigger one, and I take a little bit of saran wrap, okay? And sometimes it's actually nice to have a bowl. Show you. Nice to get your hands just a little bit, not totally wet, but just a little bit wet, okay? And we're gonna take these, and we're going to start to form them, okay? It's about I'd say that's way bigger than a pecan, way bigger than a golf ball, but it's bigger, okay? But we need more than that, okay? And I'm just patting it in. It's very ample, feels really good, this dough, okay? I tap this in, and I just flip this out, okay? Like this. Here we go. We got our burger right here, okay? And then I start to place those. So I do that pretty fast, you know, just pretty fast. Get these going. Again, you could use the smaller one. The fatter you make the burgers, the juicier, obviously, the thicker they're going to, you know, they're not going to be as crispy, okay? These are, I'd say, 1/2 inch. They're about 1/2 inch thick. And that seems just perfect to me. But I know, you know, everyone's going to have a different kind of lid. And I'm just going to get all these formed, and we're going to get them in the oven, okay? And you can see how fast. Now, you can also, at this point, you could make all of these, and using the parchment paper with a piece on the bottom and a little piece on the top, and stacking them up and putting them in a freezer container, you could put these at this point right now in the freezer and, you know, take them out for another time. Now, I'm making big burgers, so we're probably only going to get 5 or 6. And I filled the things up really pretty good here, okay? And they are looking really pretty, I think. And there's always going to be a little bit left over. Probably not enough for a little one. Maybe let's just actually make 2 little ones. That's what I'm going to do. Let's make 2 little ones because it's not going to make a big one. So we'll make a couple little ones. Maybe those will be the ones that I eat for lunch. Okay, so those are the littler ones. They're not so little, it's big enough actually. Again, it depends on if it's your main meal. Okay, and we have the oven on high. Okay, and we're at 375, and those are going to cook the whole time that we're making something else. Okay, and we're going to flip them halfway between. Okay, when they're in their halfway point, we need to flip them. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of all this. Put this in the sink at the moment. Get rid of this, and we'll move on to our next thing. Okay, let's just get rid of this. I like the spatula very much. Rinse it off. Okay, and we are going to get these in the oven right now. Again, no oil on the pan. This is what they look like. Okay, this is what they look like, and they're ready to get in the oven. Okay, in a preheated 375. Oh, I see that my oven somehow went off. Well, that's going to slow us down. I guess today is a day of technicalities. That sometimes happens. Not everything works out perfectly every day, but things always have their way of it. So we'll get rid of these mushrooms. I always like kind of clearing the table and making room for things. We are going to deal with the potatoes. And I actually boiled all these potatoes. And in the recipe, I believe the recipe I called for 12 small creamers, but I could not get my hands on some creamers. But there were a bunch of, yesterday I went to the market And there were lots of little new potatoes, which I swear are the size of a dime. And then I had other potatoes that were bigger. So I cut some of those. And I like cooking these really little potatoes whole, okay? And I like cutting them afterwards. Now I did cut a few of them because some of them that I started were very big. And I wanted everything to cook all at once. So we are going to get this cutting board. And we still have a little bit of beets on this. So I just want to get rid of, I'm not going to get rid of the dye, but we're going to get the meat as clean as possible. Okay? And I like getting the potatoes cut. And we'll probably, this is a recipe that I don't really follow the proportions of things. I really just look at how things are, you know, looking in the bowl. So I like, again, I said I like cutting these right when they're hot. There's something really nice about them when they're hot. And all of them, I'm going to try to make somewhat even, okay? And you can see that their skins are kind of trying to fall off a little bit because they are. You see it like that. And we're just going to get all these potatoes. Could have done some of this in advance, but it's okay. I love making it warm potato salad. It's one of my favorite things to do. I'm glad that these are already cut, so I'm kind of moving those in. There are these ones that are like so small that I don't even know. They're just so out of the ground that they look like baby potatoes. And I'm sure they're delicious. New potatoes, that's what they call those, new potatoes. And I have white ones and red ones in here. And not every single potato has to be cut, but again, I just kind of like doing that. Let's get all the ones that I had to pre-cut out of here so we know what we're doing. And we are going to put cucumbers in here. We're going to put cornichons. It's kind of a recipe that I kind of make up, you know. It's not science. It doesn't have to be this all the time. As I like to say, the recipe is just a guide. You don't like something, then don't put it in. If you like something a lot, then put it in. Like often I put celery into potato salad, but this potato salad, I didn't put any celery. So you could put celery. Again, it's kind of something that you can make up based on your own likings and what you have in your fridge, okay? And you can see that I'm just cutting these because every one of them are different sizes. And it's weird to deal with so many kinds of sizes. Yesterday when I went to the farmer's market, you know, the market is fantastic, but you are no longer able to pick your own things, and you just have to tell the person, I'd like a pound of potatoes, and they pick them for you. He did ask me if I wanted small or medium, and I said small, but I had no idea that it can be the size of my thumbnail. So that's all of our potatoes here, okay? They're all cut, and they're all a little bit sticky, and I like that, and they're still a little bit warm. I like that very much, okay? And then we have a lot of ingredients that we're going to put inside of our salad, okay? We are going to put in about a half a cup of diced cucumbers, okay? And again, this is probably way more. This is probably 3/4 of a cup, but I have a lot of potatoes here, so I'm just going to go ahead and add all that. And I want to show you what this cucumber look like. It's very beautiful. It really looks like a pickle, a large pickle before you pickle things. And this is the kind of things that you do get when you go to the market, things that are just so beautiful you don't, not sure if you want. And how I cut this, I just gonna quickly show you. I cut the middle, and then I cut the little end off. And then, you know, I always try to remind everyone that before you cut anything, you cut a teeny bit off so you make it so flat that nothing moves, okay? And then what I do is I cut this, and I cut like little tiny, however small dice, okay? Like just cut like that. So you end up with lots of little wedges. And then usually I take off the edges like this. I remove these edges, and you have nice the three in the middle. And then I actually cut little strips. These don't have very big seeds, which are good. If you were buying those big cucumbers in the grocery store and they had the big seeds, I actually would cut that cucumber. First of all, I would peel that cucumber and get rid of that waxy, gross stuff. This is good skin. It has no wax on it. And I would take a spoon and I would take out those big seeds, and then I would dice, because that extra seeds adds water to your salad and you don't want it. Then you remember, you always want to keep your hands pulled back. And then you would just small dice these. And that's exactly what you end up with, is small dice, okay? We're not going to put any more cucumbers into our salad. But I did want to show you what that's like. And you always want to eat the heel of it. Can't let that go. That's not garbage. And it's delicious. And you know, it's amazing when things taste good. You know, sometimes you buy things and you think, God, it doesn't even taste like a tomato, or it doesn't taste like lettuce. But that cucumber tastes like a cucumber. Amazing. So that's the cucumber that we're going to put in. I also like putting in cornichons. Cornichons look like this. I'm going to just show you. Okay, I hope you can see. And they're a French little pickle that is a little bit sour, but not too sour, and they look like that. Okay, that is a cornichon, and I love them. And I like to use those. Some people could use pickled relish, you know, that's already bought, but instead of buying that pickled relish that they might add a lot of sugar or salt, at least here I'm starting with the whole cornichon, and I'm adding that, okay? Again, making my little piles, okay? We also need to have some two scallions, and I ran out of scallions, so I actually had shallots. And you really can use either one in the salad, shallots or red onions or scallions. I would probably stick away, I would not use a white onion. A white onion would probably be too strong, okay? So this is the scallion, the shallots that I chopped up. And I chopped up a bunch, okay? Again, I'm kind of just making a pile, okay? And then we also we're going to need a garlic for the dressing. And then we also have dill. And you can buy dill in the grocery store, and it would come in a gigantic, beautiful, I don't know if any of you ever, maybe don't even notice it in the store, but it comes like 5 times the size. And I am one person, so I tend to look to see if the store carries it in the small portion, the way they sell basil and rosemary and the rest of the herbs. And I just buy a little bit of it, because I can't manage having a gigantic one before it spoils. Sometimes I actually hand it off to Wendy or somebody I know and say, can you take half the dill off my hands because I have too much? And we're going to chop this right this minute, okay? And we're just going, we need about 2 tablespoons. I probably have too much here, so I'm going to put it back into the little container, okay? And we're going to chop this. And again, you don't need exactly 2 tablespoons, but that is what I'm recommending, okay? And this is, I can tell, is about 2 tablespoons. We're going to be heaping 2 tablespoons. But let's just measure it out to see how I did here. But I think we're pretty good. Sometimes I just divide it like this, and I look at it. And I say, oh yeah, that's 2 tablespoons. I just look at it and say, no need to measure, because I just say, that's enough. You know, that looks just like 2 tablespoons to me. But I will show you, because I just get my tablespoon here. And look, one little teeny pile is one big, nice thing of tablespoon. And now if you needed to, you didn't have fresh, I would use the dry dill. You could use dry dill. It's not as lovely, but this is your dill, okay? I actually, I see that there's a question about washing the dill. It's not something really that is dirty. It's something, you know, there's some vegetables that I don't wash. If that was cilantro, if that was parsley, I would have, and probably maybe even basil. Basil's are very delicate, and sometimes the basil actually comes clean. But this is very plain. There's no grit, there's no sand, and it's very clean. So I'm actually not worried about it, to tell you the truth. And I know you might think it's weird to not wash every single thing, but that just is the way. Sometimes things are clean, and if you If you washed all of that, it would really, it's like washing a raspberry. You know, like that's another thing that I don't, you could lightly rinse a raspberry, but in all my days of working professionally, I don't think I ever put a raspberry under any water because it would just kind of damage it. So we've got all our ingredients in here, and you see how pretty that is? And I like to read again, make sure that we didn't do the celery, and I forgot to get it out. And let's do that. Sorry. You can all see my clouded refrigerator here. I keep my celery in a thing labeled celery. And I thought it was odd that I didn't prep any celery. And this has actually all been washed. I washed it before I put it away. And you know, I have to tell you, this is something that I really like using a lot. We're going to take some of this out now that we're in this box together. And I love this. This is like the good bits, okay? Love that part, okay? And we're just going to we're going to do this very quickly because I can see that we're running, you know, we didn't start exactly on time, but we have a lot, and I really just wanted to show you a quick little dessert if we have time, okay? You see how, this is probably 2 piles, but again, I kind of line up everything, and I just small dice, and it says that we need a half a cup. I don't know if we need a half a cup because we've kind of gone off the recipe, and we have a lot of potatoes, but what I like about the celery is that it's going to add a little bit of crunch. And you know, when you're making a salad, it's really good to have different kinds of texture. You're going to have the soft potato, and then you're going to have the nice crunchy celery, okay? So that's our celery. Probably could use some more, but we've got the cucumbers, okay? And this part that I call the really delicious bits. I bet you a lot of you just throw this away. And this is one of my very favorite, that inner part of the celery and this part of the little, and you can chop it up like parsley, and it will give it a lot of texture. Some people might put that into stock, and you could put that green part, but to me, this is still food, and it's not to be wasted in, you know, making stock. You know, it's the most yummy. And if you were above me right this moment smelling like I am, this is just full of the celery smell. Delicious, delicious. Okay, that would be instead of parsley, and I'm doing it in addition to our fresh dill. Okay, so now at this point we have to make our dressing, okay? And maybe you would have made the dressing ahead so that you were short on time. You could, you know, but let's just make this dressing. Oops, sorry, I have fallen things. And we're going to make the dressing very quickly. It won't take a lot of time. And we're going to make that in another machine called the NutriBullet. And you could make this dressing in the Cuisinart, but right now it's dirty, and I like this machine for this. So we're going to go back to our little nuts that we're soaking. And I think I said this, but if I have not, if you are allergic to nuts and didn't want to use nuts in this dressing, I would use the same amount of, we used 1/3 cup cashews. I would use 1/3 cup cooked cannellini beans. You know, you could either have the fresh one, the ones that you cook on the stove, or the ones you get out of a can, but they will be interchangeable. Okay, so we're going to put the water into the mixture there. Okay, we need to have 1 clove of garlic. So we have the 1/3 cup water, we have the 1/3 cashews. We're going to need 1 tablespoon. And you might think, God, that's a lot. A tablespoon is a lot of mustard. But we're making quite a bit of dressing, not a lot. And you could double this recipe easily if you wanted, in case you like it and you wanted to use it for, I don't know, I had a little bit left over and I cooked some artichokes and I used it as a dipping sauce. I'm going to just take this garlic, smash it, and get it out of its little paper shell, like that, okay? And then, so we need 1 clove garlic. We need to have some black pepper, okay? Some black pepper. Gonna just give it a couple turns like that. And then we need to have some lemon juice, okay? And let us get rid of this water. I've had a lemon sitting on my counter that I used this morning for some zest. And it says that we need to have 1 tablespoon. And 1 tablespoon, you probably get almost 2 tablespoons out of a half a lemon. And I'm going to show you, I have this really nice, I like showing these tools off to you each and every time. This is called Chefin, C-H-E-F, and then N, Chefin. And it's a really good, very, very good juicer. Oh, I just got squirted on the face. Oh my goodness. That doesn't ever happen. I have to get my glasses off. But this lemon, this lemon usually goes into a glass of water. I love putting it in my water. And I also love putting it into, I save the half a lemon because I have a lot of copper pans. And I use the half a lemon with some kosher salt. And that makes all the copper pans all shiny. So I never throw this part out till I use it again. But right now, I am literally have to take a glass because there's nothing like being covered in lemon juice. So I squeezed all the lemon at one time because we don't need it all, but we might need extra. So let's get this lemon now. We are going to take the 1 tablespoon that's in here, already got mustard on it, and we're going to pour this lemon juice in. Okay, and I'm kind of using the lemon juice. I'm going to pour a little more lemon juice. And let's not go anywhere with that lemon juice in case we need more. Okay, and let's try to get this. Always helpful to have the right tool for the right thing. There's a lot of mustard still in this little spoon. Okay, and I like getting it all out. Okay, so again, let's just read. We have water, cashews, Dijon, lemon, garlic, and we might need a splash of vinegar, but we'll do that at the end. Okay, and then we're going to get this plugged in. Now, the thing about the NutriBullet is that everything mixes and it's all upside down. So in order to taste something, you actually have to open up the little jar. But you get used to that. And let's just see. And then this turns. I don't know if I should give up on this. I do want to say one thing. If you were using this for a dressing, for a salad dressing, actually, you could put some fresh herbs in here right now, or some dry herbs. You could put like tarragon or oregano. You could put your Italian seasoning, and it would be delicious. Okay, so I'm going to turn this upside down. Again, we have to open it up. That's the only way for us to know what things look like, okay? It looks a little bit, it looks delicious. It looks like some of the nuts are, well, they're all ground actually. I just want to show you. And I'm being reminded to flip the burgers, and I absolutely know what I'm doing. It's nice for somebody to remind me, but I will. Okay, so this is actually out, and I'm going to move this away entirely. Okay, so we are ready. I'm going to peek at the burgers with you. I have them on the back of my mind the whole time. This whole time I have them on my mind. But I actually feel, because the reason I don't think that they're ready to flip is because the oven had been on, and then by accident I turned it off. So when they went in, they were not so ready. And I'm going to see, yeah, they're still very soft, and they're not ready to flip. I can tell. I mean, we can try.
Carole, I'm interrupting for a moment. The question came because a few people are cooking along with you. So their ovens may have been
well, you could
functioning.
Okay, well, you can flip the burger. You can kind of tell when to flip. I mean, you can just lift it up with a spatula and see if it's brown. These are a little bit still not brown yet. I would say they need a good another 5 or 6 minutes, to tell you the truth. Mine do, but you can tell yourself if you just pick it up and you look at the bottom and it's brown, well, then it's ready to flip. But mine are definitely going back in. Thank you for clarifying. What?
Yes.
And I love knowing that people are cooking. But those are definitely going back in. And the only reason we had a delay is because I turned my oven off. Maybe I did that subconsciously because I'm standing here and I'm boiling. So we are going to take this dressing, and it is all, the one thing that I love very much about the Cuisinart is that you can clean things really, really easily. And it is a really tough thing if you're someone like myself who just likes to get out into every crevice and get out all the things so you don't waste any. Okay? And then we don't have a lot of dressing here, but we have enough. And I'm not gonna pour it all in. I'm gonna see, because the potatoes are still a little bit warm, okay? And so that means that the potato salad is going to absorb the dressing, okay? And I'm just gonna mix this. And again, you can see that I made probably twice the amount that is actually in the recipe. And it's really up to you how much dressing you're going to put into the salad. Do you know, some of us like to have it a little wetter. Other people like to have it dry. I will tell you that I like putting a little bit more dressing in, because if this whole bowl was for myself and I wasn't having to share it with anybody today, and I was just going to put it away for the next 3 or 4 days, in 2 or 3 days, it would not be as wet because the potatoes, just like when you cook pasta, it's still, taking the liquid. Sometimes you make a pasta salad and you eat it 3 days later and it's all been blown up because all the liquid has come, right? So I actually have just a little bit of dressing. Really, I have like maybe, I don't know, less than 2 tablespoons. So I'm actually going to, rather than put this away, because again, I could put it away and use it on an artichoke. I could use it as salad dressing, but I just might as well get it in here, okay? And I like trying to get this container as clean as possible, okay? And then we're gonna taste this. And I don't think it's gonna be lacking any salt. It might be lacking some, we didn't put a lot of black pepper. And the one way that I like bringing up the flavor, in case, again, sometimes you do miss the salt if your tongue is used to having the salt, okay? But I always taste it. The potatoes are out of this world. Oh my God, the potatoes are out of this world. Who would have ever known? But they're fantastic. And I just want to show you my way of, if you needed and felt like it still wasn't that strong you could put a little more Dijon mustard in your dressing. But I just go and get any vinegar that I have out of my cabinet. This just happens to be champagne vinegar. You could get the red wine vinegar, the white wine vinegar. I wouldn't do the balsamic. Okay, and I literally have a drop of this, a drop. There's not anything left in this bottle, literally less than a tablespoon. And I just thought I might as well clear this jar out. And that brings the flavor, that little teeny bit of vinegar puts that flavor at the top and will make this so delicious and fresh, okay? Now, before we plate, we're going to plate everything, okay? Right this very second, okay? But if you could taste this, I'm not kidding you, it is fantastic, okay? But let's look at my burgers really fast, very fast, because it is necessary to look at the burgers. And I don't want anyone to think that I'm forgetting. Okay, here they are, right here. And they're definitely not done, but they might be ready to flip. Okay, And they are brown. They look really, really pretty. They're really pretty. And I'm gently tossing, and you can see that they're brown, okay? And I'd already flipped these little ones, so I'm gonna leave those little ones, okay? But you can see that those were brown on that side, and now we're gonna leave them for the rest of their minutes. I just wanna show you, but they're going right back in the oven. But luckily I have some already made so that we can plate everything, okay? And I just want to first tell you how we're gonna plate these. Now I actually, you know what, I think I want the bigger plate. I think I like having a bigger plate because, I don't know, sometimes I actually make a small plate. I get a small plate for my food, so I fill it up really big and I think I'm not eating so much. But I want this big plate, and I was going to take a moment to show you how to make a real hamburger, you know, on a bun, and you layer up the tomato, and you put the lettuce on, and you put the avocado on, but it is just not necessary to do that. I don't need to teach you how to make a burger. You all have eaten enough burgers. What I'd like to show you that is more important to me, in just 1 minute, I have one little task to do to show you. I'm putting a teeny, teeny, teeny bit of water on the stove while I'm talking to you, okay? And I'm draining this lettuce, okay? I'm gonna give it a quick, I don't have my spinner at hand, but I'm going to just lightly squeeze the water out of this lettuce because it's got a lot of, and I'm gonna show you that I always try to work in as many greens as possible. Our beets and our quinoa and our onions and our mushrooms are all very good for us, but we might as well get in some greens too, okay? So I'm going to put this lettuce, and I do want to show off a little bit. It is the most beautiful lettuce. Look at that leaf. I could just show you how beautiful the lettuce is. And it's a mixture of greens that I get from the farmer's market, okay? It's still a little bit wet, which is disheartening to me. So I usually use a spinner, but mine was soaking here. So I'm just gonna, you know, kind of dry it very quickly for you, okay? And then I actually have a peeler. I thought I had a peeler. I don't think I took the peeler out. Let's go. Oh, here it is. The peeler can be close to you. And I like to just make some carrot curls, okay? Just a few. Again, just trying to make it look interesting. Because at this point, everything is about the visual and you sitting down and looking at what you're eating. And, you know, and also, maybe some of you have family members that aren't used to looking at so many vegetables on a plate, and you certainly want them saying, wow, what you're having looks so much more delicious than what I'm having. I'm going to have what you're having. You know, so this is the point that I actually put a lot of emphasis on, which is making it beautiful and also layering it and making it have lots of different textures. We are going to center our burger, and I have this here, and I have a burger here that I had just made, and it's a little darker, but it's here, and I'm actually gonna put this off to the side a little bit, okay, just to the side so that the lettuce shows. Again, at this point, you could put anything on top. I'm one of those people that loves to get an avocado in there if possible. So we're just gonna cut. I don't think this is just about ready, just ready. And I usually take out. It'd be helpful to have a cutting board close by. You know, sometimes there's just not enough room on the table to do everything. And we need to dry this. This needs to be dry. Just a second. That's why we have towels everywhere in the kitchen. Just want to get that out. And I'm gonna just, you know how you get this out, the avocado, you take it out in a nice big scoop like this. Okay, and you flip it over. And I'm just gonna take a simple knife, not a butter knife, or just a butter knife. And I'm just going to slice it, just a couple slices. We don't need the whole thing. It's too much fat, you know. And we're just going to layer that onto the top. of the burger like that. And I put a little water on because I wanted to show you, we are just now getting to the season of snap peas. And this is something I just wanted to show. These are snap peas. You get them at the market. I got them at the farmer's market yesterday. And they have little stems on them, and you just have to peel their little backs, okay? And what I do is I put them in the boiling water really fast. And this is called blanching. It's a technique. And usually you have a bowl of ice water, a big bowl, so that you can cool them right away. And I want to tell you that these things you actually can eat raw. And they're like fantastic. Sometimes it's good that I ride my bike these days to the market because I can't be eating them. When I used to ride the train home, I would eat all the snap peas before I even got home. It's so crazy. So crazy to do that. Anyway, let me just continue to show you these snap peas. And cleaning up is always something I do in the same time. So these peas are getting bright green. We are running out of time is what I'm being told. But we just won't have dessert, I guess, if that's the case. We are going to take these. We're going to run cold water over them. And we are going to get a spoon. Again, this is kind of a little surprise. I know you all don't have snap peas, but I like showing you how I get these other vegetables into this meal. Okay, I'm just putting these around here. We don't need all of them. And then I'm going to take a nice big scoop, and we're going to put a nice big scoop of potato salad. Okay? And that is pretty much, maybe we need one more little thing on our thing for decoration. I like having everything look as pretty as possible. Maybe we need just a tomato, not a whole tomato, maybe just a slice of tomato. And we just need to have it right there on top. I think that is kind of the pretty thing. And that's really our demo. That is our beef burger over lettuce greens. I often put dressing underneath there. You can do that. I just thought ultimately all this is going to kind of get mixed up on your plate and you're going to end up eating it all at once. But you could toss your salad greens first and put dressing on, but I did not. I didn't bother to do that. And that's our dinner. Beef burger with potato salad over mixed greens. And
Gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous.
And if we have like literally, I don't know, less than 5 minutes, before we answer questions, I could make a very, very fast 5-minute dessert. I mean, literally 5 minutes. Not a baked dessert at all, but a dessert. Do we have 5 minutes, Wendy, or not?
We have 5 minutes. Those who want to stay, please stay. And if you're interested in dessert, those who need to go now, thank you very much for coming. And just to remind you that this is part of an ongoing series, so you can tune into the website ppmny.org for ongoing classes. But I'll announce that in a minute. Meanwhile, we'll let Carole go and finish up dessert, and you'll have your Memorial Day belated June burger and potato salad meal.
So I, again, just really quickly, because I, you know, it's very hard for me not to show you a dessert. I'm a dessert person, and I often start a meal with dessert. Okay, so what I did was I took all the rind off, and I can't show you how to do that, but you just peel it all away, and anybody has questions, they can write to me and say, how did you do that? I'd be happy to show you. And then I'm going to kind of make what I call like big, thick, I don't know, they're about a 1/2 inch to maybe 3/4, and I'm going to make as big as possible, big things like this, okay? And we're not going to need too many. We'll just, sometimes the shapes fall apart. So again, I'm just making big pieces that I'm lying on my cutting board here, okay? And this was supposed to be a seedless melon, but I guess a few seeds do sneak in there. I have these skewers. These are 8-inch skewers. They come in all different sizes, but 8-inch is good enough. Okay, and then I have some cutters. I'm a cookie person. I have a moon, I have a heart, and I have stars. And what we're going to do, I don't know if the moon is really going to work actually, but I do know the heart is good. So I'm just going to literally, as if you were cutting cookies, you are making yourself a shaped heart, okay? And again, so trying not to waste too much. You're trying to always get as many pieces out of each thing. That is going to be a tight little squeeze there for that one heart, but it's doable. And of course, you're not going to throw away these pieces. You're just going to put them in a bowl. And then maybe you want a few stars, okay? And so, you know, not July 4th or anything like that, but I like stars and moons and all these shapes. And I just cutting, again, as many shapes as possible, okay? Getting rid of the pieces, but not throwing them out because it's obviously still food. And let's just cut a few more stars here, and maybe a heart because that's what we have room for. Can we try to cut a moon? Let's just see. Yeah, we can make a moon, no problem. It's a big piece of moon. I don't know if one needs to have such a big piece. I don't usually make moon-shaped watermelons, but that is that works, okay? So that is what we're going to do and make these shapes, okay? And you're going to do as many of those as possible because if you're making these, it has to be like a production line, okay? And the production line is full of different kinds of fruits. You could use apples, but here I just have washed blueberries, okay? And I'm stringing along these blueberries on the stem, okay? And I'm pushing them down so that there's always a holding place. I think we need to have one raspberry, okay? I'm gonna give us I don't know, we'll give us one little star. I think a star would be nice, okay? And then maybe another blueberry or two is always good, okay? And then, I don't know, we could take a heart. It might be a lot, but that is our dessert, okay? I'm going,
Gorgeous.
and you would make a tray of these, okay? You wouldn't just make one. You could make dozens ahead of time, and I'm just gonna make one more just so you get the idea, okay? I'm putting on the strawberry at the bottom this time, putting the blueberry. Again, this is a great thing if you have family sitting around the table wondering what to do to help you. You could get everybody doing them. Everybody does a different combination. Doesn't matter. Let's get the star on. Oh, we put the star on first before. Let's put the heart on. Okay, I think we need a few more blueberries. Let's get that on. And then we're done, pretty much. And I can probably start answering some questions if anybody has questions about the food that we made. My burgers are probably almost done. But again, these are our dessert. And that is your fruit dessert. And how do you say love any more than that?
It's absolutely gorgeous. Gorgeous, Carole. Thank you so much. Sorry to talk over you. I didn't realize we actually do need to end very quickly. I'm so sorry. I didn't realize we'd gone over this far over. So thank you. Thank you for squeezing in dessert. Thank you for a delicious meal. Just want to remind everyone again that this is part of an ongoing web series at Plant Powered Metro New York. Carole will be cooking 3 Sundays after Father's Day. So that's June 21, June 28, and July 5th.
No,
so
can I correct you? It's not the 21st, it's the 28th, and then it's 2 dates in July.
Oh, I see. Okay, so
yes.
June 28th, starting June 28th.
Correct.
And then 2 more Sundays afterwards.
After the holiday, yes.
Carole has an Instagram page. She often puts up beautiful photographs. Carole, what's the address on Instagram?
It's Carole Foods, CaroleFoods. And I would just like to tell you that we're moving this 3 o'clock series. The the rest of the summer, we are trying out 5 o'clock on Sundays. My dear friend Mitch calls it Worship with Carole, and we thought that it was best to push this date so many of you who go to the beach or go bike riding or spend the afternoon doing whatever you do in the summer, we've moved it to a later time so that we don't lose all of you, because we want to continue to see you and have the demos. So I'm hoping that you can come at 5 o'clock.
Great. And Plant Powered Metro New York is also adding new programs every week. So check the calendar, check the website, check the group meetup page to find future events. And if you aren't already on our mailing list, please sign up on the website, which is ppmny.org, or join us on Facebook and Instagram, where we have active communities posting information and engaging with one another. So to everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. Carole, you're getting a lot of thank yous, so thank you very much for a fantastic demo. Fantastic. Thank you. So thank you, everyone.
Did anybody actually cook and actually has any feedback or any questions, anything? I'm sorry we're so rushed.
You're right, these beets are beautiful. I have a Cuisinart that I got decades ago, and I never used the shredding blade. And I'm also wearing an apron for the first time that I got when I worked in Macy's as a college student.
Oh my God.
The only other thing I would add, if you see these, I told Carole about them. These are green bags, and they really help your produce last a lot longer. I don't have any ties to them, but it really helps you save your produce.
Thanks, Judy.
Thank you so much.
Did anybody else do any cooking or anything that's it?
I have the burgers made. I didn't get near the salad.
That's okay.
Quicker than me.
We started a little bit late with some technical difficulties, so I really apologize that we've gone over, and thank you for those of you who've stayed, and I'll see you next time.